It's halfway through 2025 and you're still not shredded. Maybe you said this was your year, maybe life got in the way again, but it's not too late. You can still get lean, strong, and locked in this year, but it's going to take strategy. And in this video, I'm giving you the exact 5-step reset to actually make it happen. I've helped hundreds of women go from stuck in cycles to shredded with a plan, and I've lived this myself. Plain and simple, I'm not here to hype you up or give you generic advice. I'm passionate about giving you a system that works. So let's jump right into step number 1, reset the goal. Most people simply fail because they don't set a real goal. They just say, I want to lose weight. Okay, but how much? By when? Why? The first thing you need to do is set at least a 90-day target, not a someday one, because you can't meaningfully work towards something that you have no structure around. Right now, you just have an idea of a goal that's floating around in your head. So instead of just saying, I want to lose fat and I'm going to cut down, say, I want to drop 10 pounds by September 15th. That gives your brain something to actually build towards, and more importantly, it allows you to build a strategy around that actual goal. It also builds urgency and encourages you to be more focused. This also helps you build a goal around the timeline so that you can give more detail to your strategy to ensure that it works. And when you know it's going to work, you're obviously going to be more consistent with it because you're confident in your process. Remember, you can do this in a way that's just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping it sticks, and starving yourself, doing the most amount of cardio, and you certainly will lose weight, but it's going to make it a lot harder on yourself. You're going to run your metabolism into the ground so that your body stops responding a lot sooner than if you had done it with a proper strategy. Shredded does not happen by accident. You have to get intentional. Step 2 is build a plan that you can stick to. This is exactly where most people mess up. They go too extreme. They're eating 1,200 calories a day. They're doing 6 days of cardio, sometimes even 6 days of training per week, going low carb. And because of that, it lasts for a week and then they binge or burn out and they think it's a discipline issue. But really, it's a strategy issue. Or the most popular one that I see is staying in a deficit for far too long because they didn't have a plan and they destroyed their metabolism and their hormones, leading to their body no longer responding. And at that point, they have now decreased their maintenance calories to a very low point because their body has adjusted. And now it becomes a lot harder to maintain a great physique without overeating because your body can only maintain on a low amount of calories. Contrary to popular belief, fat loss is not about suffering, it's about sustainability. The people who get lean and stay that way, they've done the work on their metabolism. They're training consistently with a really great quality program that drives muscle growth. And they're sticking to the same boring plan for 12 to 16 weeks while making adjustments throughout. If you just slash your calories right away to go into a cut, and you don't make adjustments along the way, you're going to burn out very quickly and your body's not going to continue to respond. So your plan should be boring, repeatable, and realistic, because in the context of fat loss, consistency is more important than intensity. It needs to work with your lifestyle. Step number 3 is to eat like someone who lifts. You're not dieting, you're fueling a physique. There's a big difference. Use these nutrition anchors to start out your cut. Your protein target should be around 0.1 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Keep your meals whole food based 80 to 90% of the time. Not only is this going to give you more nutrients, but it's actually going to make it a lot easier to be in a calorie deficit because whole foods have a lot less calories for higher volume. They are more satiating, and that's going to allow you to have a lot less cravings. Don't slash your carbs. Use them around your workouts. Be intelligent about the way that you position them. Stay hydrated. It helps eliminate cravings and keeps you fuller for longer. Ensure that you salt your food and make sure you're sleeping enough as well. And the biggest thing to remember here is that if your meals are full of processed stuff, you're going to cave because your body will have cravings. More often than not, the reason our body gets cravings is because it's actually not receiving enough of the nutrients that it needs. But we don't know the difference. Our body doesn't know the difference. It just sends the signal that you are craving something. And so we often go and grab something that's highly processed, something quick, and that for a short term fulfills that craving. The reason your body is craving is because it's missing the essential nutrients. And if you start feeding it the nutrients that it needs very consistently, a lot of your cravings will go away, and it makes the diet more sustainable. So keep cravings down by eating nutrient-dense whole foods. Step number 4 is to progress your lifts, not just cardio. If you want to get shredded and look like you lift, then you have to keep training for muscle growth and getting stronger, even while losing fat. And the mistake that most people make is thinking that fat loss is going to come from their training, when the actual purpose of your training is to build muscle. Building muscle improves your metabolism, which increases your maintenance calories and improves your body's ability to lose fat on higher calories. So make sure you build a proper training program that's actually suited for hypertrophy, because there's a big difference between going in the gym and just lifting and actually training for the outcomes of hypertrophy. Make sure you track your weights, that you're progressively overloading, and you should have a strategy within your program that already takes care of that for you. So push for progress even in a deficit, obviously without overtraining, because that can be just as detrimental as undertraining. That's how you keep your muscle while dropping body fat. And here's the reality. If you're just suffering on the Stairmaster but not training properly, you'll lose weight, but you won't like how you look because you'll just become a skinnier and skinnier version of yourself with no definition or muscle tissue, just like I did here. I kept eating less and less and less without realizing that I was actually losing muscle tissue, and I wasn't gaining anything during that process because I didn't have the correct training program behind me. I actually just created the High Achievers Guide to Training Smarter. It gives you 3 strategy shifts that you can make to start seeing results from your training again. If you want that, just DM me strategy on Instagram at Brittany_Stafford and I'll send it directly to you for free. And the last one, step number 5, is become bored before you expect to see results. This is where the mental game comes in. The people who get lean aren't motivated 24/7. They've just built the discipline to stick to the habits when nobody's watching. But the key here is that the reason they can do this, the reason they have built discipline, is because they have what I call the 3 C's. They have clarity, confidence, and consistency. When you have clarity on your process, you don't second guess yourself at every turn. And so that gives you confidence to then be consistent. It's not about hacks. It's not about constantly changing workouts. It's about doing the same simple things every day and adjusting those simple things throughout the process to continue furthering your progress. It's the result of 100 boring decisions stacked on top of each other and paired with a really great strategy. And I just want to remind you that there's always going to be a better time to restart and refocus. There's always going to be a reason to wait. We come up with things like, when summer is over, I'll start. When this birthday passes, I'll start. When this vacation is over, I'll start. But if your strategy does not include the ability to work through those times, those events, those life situations, that is not a real strategy. That is not a lifestyle. Your fat loss strategy should be able to work within and around those events. So don't let that hold you back. And if you've wasted the first half of 2025, just let it go. Lock in now. You can still end this year leaner, stronger, and more confident than you've ever been. But you need to make sure you have a real plan. If you want my help building that plan, applying it to your life, and staying accountable, my coaching is currently open. I'll show you exactly how to hit your goal without overtraining, obsessing, overstressing, or starving yourself. The link is in the description if you're interested. Go ahead and fill out an application. I'll reach out to see if we're a good fit. Let's make the second half of 2025 your comeback.